It is Let's Talk Arts and Entertainment on WMAY. We're back with another episode of State of the Arts with Gus Gordon. How are you doing, Gus?
Kevin, all things considered, I'm just fine.
Right.
The rest
That's
of the world,
all.
I'm not so sure about, but for the moment, all looks good.
Yes. Just making it through for the moment. So
Seriously.
yeah. So there is, and there are a lot of positive things happening in the world of theater and all sorts of arts and entertainment
Right.
around the community and around the world. We're going to start locally with I talked the other day with Mackenzie Ashbaugh, who has done some shows here locally, and she's putting on a virtual production of Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream in sort of a Zoom format, like we've seen a couple of shows.
Yeah.
Sure, you did the Christmas Carol, and then of course Santa's Workshop's Got Talent. So it's going to be a Zoom, and it's going to be very laid back reading. There's going to be some non-traditional casting. It's going to be pretty interesting, and it's going to be just hey, we want to do this for fun, do some Shakespeare, do some theater, and just have a good time. And I think that's pretty great.
Well, it's all about having a good time right now and taking your mind off of other weightier issues. So good for them. That's great.
Yeah, and that should be. They don't have a definitive date for it yet, but they are hoping to have it cast by the end of this week, possibly by next week, and then a couple weeks down the road, they're going to read through it and record it, and everybody, just everybody can brush up on their Shakespeare. Brush up your Shakespeare. So that'll be a lot of fun. I think that's gonna be great.
Start quoting it now.
Yep.
Believe it there.
Yes, and also
fun parts. I've never done that show, and that's probably not a show that's going to be seen much anymore, just because of its subject matter. That Kiss Me, Kate. Brush up your
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
those gangsters in that show. Those are great character parts.
Yeah. Yeah. So shows. Well, shows can, I'm sure. And this is something even we can discuss a little bit. That there's some shows that definitely, even within the past couple of years, all around the world, that you see them and you're like, this doesn't fly anymore. But
right.
Maybe there are some shows that if you put even like not like a warning in front of it, but like this was written at this time and this is how it is, and we don't want to censor it or anything. I'm not sure, but there are as time goes on, the more and more shows, and this is with comedy, this is with anything, what is deemed acceptable or at the time was acceptable is one of those things where you're like, it changes from year to year, from day to day even sometimes. So I don't know how do you feel about that, if that's something that may be coming for shows, when shows come back.
It's something that a thoughtful person has to pay attention to and be conscious of how people can react to those subject matters. I know the recent Broadway revival, worked with the book a little bit to try to bring it more up to current male-female relations standards. And, it's I don't think that's a bad thing. I think you need to. It's a fine line between honoring history and making it palatable for a current audience. And we don't want a lot of these shows to disappear, forever. So maybe figuring out ways to present them in a current format is a good idea, just to keep them alive.
Yeah, because there are so many shows that so many that I love. There's some that are my favorites, but there's maybe a character in it or a song or some choice of lyrics that you're like, even if it's like, there's some where it's even when it's like satire, where it's just like, this still could rub people the wrong way, the way it is, presented. So
exactly.
There's one right behind me. I don't know where it is. My Fair Lady, right there, with which that's the story of Pygmalion in general,
right.
and sort of the happy ending that came with Pygmalion and eventually My Fair Lady, because as in recent years I know has been one of those that's like,
that I don't know that I understand that one, because the ending has always been a question mark.
Yeah,
she doesn't come crawling back to Higgins. She is her own independent person who has forged her own way. And I think that's how it's always been written. Now, individual companies might have played it as a love story, but it's not a love story.
No, it's an abusive relationship. It's yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right. And
if that.
sometimes you get confused because the music is so grand and romantic and sweeping. It's a beautiful score,
Yeah.
but they're not a couple,
No.
and it's never been. I don't think that was George Bernard Shaw's intent. And I watched the recent Broadway revival, and I'd heard that it was revisionist and so forth. I didn't see a difference the
No, they
way
didn't.
actually it was portrayed in the past, for the most part. I mean, a
No.
little bit subtly, but there was no major change made. They were just very clear in the blocking that, again, she was her own person, and Higgins was a sad guy, and he was on his own.
Yeah, and that is and how because My Fair Lady is one of my favorites, but yeah, that's how it came off because I remember reading about that saying, oh, it's like it's revisionist and all this, but when I saw it, it's like, well, I mean, they kind of just they keep true to the book. I mean, they don't really change any of the words around. Yeah, it's just the
Right,
staging, which you
right.
can change around staging in shows. It's not, that happens all the time. That's usually
Sure.
what revivals are about. So I think as we go forward in the future, especially with theater coming back, I think maybe that's something that, and I mean, there are shows that I believe even before all this happened that we're saying, hey, this is this subject material is it is what it is. I mean, I know that's a very cliche saying, but it is what it is. That's how we have to, without just like cutting half the book out and saying, well, this is the
Well,
songs sound good.
I think groups have to decide if they want to do that show, then they do that show, and if they want to rewrite it, then they've created a different show. Then my thought is, well, do a different show if you
Yeah.
want to do this. Do something
Yeah.
that you're comfortable with. Create your own thing. And we're getting a lot of that now. We're getting a lot of new creations. I don't really care for some of the revisals. There's a revival, and then there's a revisal which really
Yeah.
guts the book and changes it, and frequently, for no reason except the current author, wants to earn their paycheck. And I don't know. It's a tough conversation.
It is, but it's one that it does need to be had and will be being had for
Of course, yeah,
I think.
it's a continuing conversation.
Right. Yes. There's a couple things also happening around the world locally, and I mean, I talked with you right before we started recording with the Kennedy Center. I mean,
Yeah,
a long time coming with Dick Van Dyke. I had no idea he hadn't had this recognition. I mean, I know he's a Tony and multiple award-winning actor, but yeah, that he's being honored finally at the age of 95, as you said.
95. And they're holding this in May, and at 95, you really hope that he stays with us,
Yeah,
receive that wonderful honor because he is so deserving. He has provided, we have so many treasures: Mel Brooks,
yeah,
Betty
yeah.
White,
Mary's right. Mary
Van
Poppins,
Dyke.
right there.
Yep, exactly, exactly. Julie Andrews, of course.
Oh yeah,
Many of those other folks have been honored in the past. I know Mel Brooks was. I don't think Betty White has received the Kennedy Center honor, but she has certainly been revered. And every time I see a picture of Betty White on Facebook, and there
I
was one
know.
yesterday, my
Yeah, I
heart
saw it.
bleeds. It's
I'm
like,
like,
no,
no.
please, no.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she celebrates her 99th birthday. I'm like, oh, good.
That's amazing. She's such an
Yeah,
amazing performer, and so beloved. And Mel Brooks the same way. We lost so many greats last year, but it's the circle of life, I guess. It's
it
really
is.
hard, but it's just the way things go. And Carl Reiner, was someone I really enjoyed and liked. And of course, he wrote and created the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah, and he was on it a couple times too.
Yeah,
I
no, he
think.
played
Yeah,
Alan Brady, the boss,
yeah.
and of course, the show is kind of based on his own life, but he didn't want to play the lead in it, and they put Dick Van Dyke in there, and he had already had his hit with Bye Bye Birdie, so he was a rising star.
Oh yeah.
It just catapulted him. And looking back at clips of Dick Van Dyke and Mary Tyler Moore, I don't know many guys my age don't who don't think, boy, that's kind of what I was hoping life would be like when I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm beyond glad that he among the several people that are going to be honored, that he's being honored there. As you said, Debbie Allen is another one.
Who's
Um,
phenomenal. I saw her years ago in the revival of Sweet Charity on Broadway, and she was fantastic. It's
nice.
great. Garth Brooks is also being honored. Joan Baez and Midori Goto. I hope I pronounced that properly, but they're all going to be honored, and the celebration will take place in May 17th. It looks like. Um, yeah, there'll be the gala will be modified to meet safety protocols with a series of smaller events for reduced audiences to take place over the course of a week, beginning on May 17th, and then I guess it'll be broadcast in some form as an edited piece later.
Nice. All right. Well, that's great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Those are always great and always so much fun to see. And
Right.
so that'll be and great to see everybody honored. There's a couple things also coming up. And before I get to that, I'm sure you read that, of course, like many people, especially a lot of artists, are completely out of work, Broadway actors and actresses, and the show Law and Order SVU, which has been
Yes.
running a long, long time, but has a lot of people. They cast guest stars all the time to play a dad or a killer or whoever, but they said they are hiring as many Broadway actors as they can to give them work during this time, and I think that's great.
Yeah, that's very cool. A lot of them will not get health insurance if they haven't worked. And so
Yeah,
almost a full year has gone by. So a lot of these New York actors, Broadway actors, off Broadway actors are in danger of losing their health benefits. So the creators of Law and Order or the producers of Law and Order have decided that they want to try to do this. And it's a badge of honor for Broadway actors. When you look at their credits and their bios, most of them have said, I've been on, Law and Order SVU, or what's the other one? What was the other one?
um,
There was a
Criminal Intent was one of them. Yeah,
Christopher Maloney too.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I have a friend who has appeared in several shows on Broadway. He was part of our gala. His name is Jimmy Walton, and in his
Mhm.
bio, he doesn't proudly state, but he states in his bio that he's never appeared on an episode of Law and Order. I always thought it was very funny, but now maybe he'll get his chance.
Yeah, maybe he can. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. There's so yeah. That's and that is yeah. And that is a great. People make as many jokes they want to about it, but I mean, everybody knows it. Everybody knows the theme song. Everybody knows the bum bum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. And it's great that any work they're getting is great. Like you said, they lose
And
their
they've been
insurance
doing
if
that
they're
for
not.
years. They've been
Oh yeah.
Broadway actors and New York based actors for years. And I'm really interested in how many shows are handling this. My wife and I were watching This Is Us this week, and they're very concerned about making sure that they drop little comments in there like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you socially distance, or that you were in quarantine for 2 weeks before you came to see me." They keep
Yeah.
dropping those little, lines in there so that the audience feels a little more comfortable that there are three actors in a scene, that none of them are wearing a mask or whatever it is. But some of them are figuring out ways to do this, but I don't know. With the current situation in LA, I think a lot of we talked about that last time. A lot of
Yeah.
production is bound to stop.
Yeah. So
But New York, I think, is doing a little better.
yeah, it's they're taking it day by day, I guess. I mean, like I said, Dr. Fauci says that if people follow the guidelines, get vaccinated, keep their distance, mask up, then productions will be able to go on by fall of this year. So
Sure.
if people follow directions, maybe we can have theater again.
You can
I
have
hope.
nice things. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I'm really excited about is the movie adaptation of Spamalot is now
Yeah.
on the books at Paramount. Casey Nicholaw, who directed the Broadway production, will be directing the movie version, and it will feature a screenplay by Eric Idle.
Nice. There we
Yeah,
go.
so it'll be
And he
really interesting. Now, there are probably a lot of Monty Python nerds that want to, and I might include myself in that category,
Me too. Yep.
talking about their dream casting. Oh, who would be good in this? And I don't know. I haven't given it a lot of thought yet, but who would be
Yeah.
really good right now in that movie?
I'm guessing because I saw I saw the tour of Spamalot when it came through a couple of years ago, and
Right.
Eric Idle played the voice of God and like did the announcement at the beginning. So I assume him and or John Cleese will have some sort of role in it. It'll be
That'd
interesting.
be great.
I
The
oh
remaining,
yeah,
living members of the group to have some kind of cameo or something would be wonderful. Um,
yeah,
some of the Broadway performers might still be up for the task. David Hyde Pierce being one.
yeah.
I don't think Tim Curry, who played King Arthur on Broadway, I don't think he's up to it anymore.
If with his with his sense of humor though, I wonder if they'll put him in there and he'll do something. I mean, I don't know, but he could even be the
If they honor those people by making him a part of the production.
oh yeah, he could even be the voice of God or something, or he could be the histor if they add in elements from also the original movie. I guess the historian's in the musical too. He could be like the historian at the beginning or something,
Well,
right when
it'll be fun to look forward to.
yeah, so because I love the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I mean my dad and I, we own the 16 disc box set of the TV show, and we used to watch that all the time. And I love Life of Brian. So and I think that's a movie. The Spamalot, the upcoming Spamalot movie is one I know people are gonna be like, I can't believe they're people are gonna be like they're remaking this movie, but it's like no, they're adapting the musical, which is
Right.
also written by Eric Idle. So it's not it's their project. The Holy Grail's still going to be out there.
Casting of the other members, it should be said.
Yeah.
They didn't want to be a part of it, but they realized they could make a lot of money from it. So I think they say lovingly ripped off from. And I said something incorrect. Casey Nicholaw was the original choreographer of the Broadway production. Nichols, the late Mike Nichols, was the director, but Casey Nicholaw will be directing the movie version. So just he did the Prom on Broadway, and he just choreographed the Netflix version of that. So he's making that transition from stage to screen, and in some pretty high profile projects.
Very nice. Well, that'll be good to see, I'm sure. And of course, I know I still haven't seen all of the Prom, but I have seen many clips from it, whether they be in reviews of it or just clips that I've looked up on YouTube. And yeah, the choreography is great, so I'm sure that he will be doing a great job with Spamalot.
Yeah,
so
I enjoyed the Prom. We watched this week. We watched the Ratatouille TikTok musical,
nice.
And it was cute. There were some really good tunes in there, and of course you had Titus Burgess and Wayne Brady and Adam Lambert and Kevin Chamberlain, and who else was in that? Oh, come on, there are a few more that I can't remember.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
The young lady from the Disney Channel shows, I forget her name. Park.
Allison Park, maybe. I don't know. Let me pull up the cast list. Actually, let me see here.
Cast list for me while I stammer and yammer here for a second. But it was
You're good.
For what it was really pretty great. And how cool for these young TikTok, composers to have their work performed and orchestrated by Broadway talent. And who knows where it'll lead to? Who knows if Disney's officially behind it? But some of the songs were really good and would fit into a Disney show.
Oh yeah, and I think that's definitely one that once we can do shows on stage again, I think that's probably I can tell they're gonna be adapting it into a stage play or even another they'll make like a live movie adaptation. So yeah, it's Ashley Park is the actress's name, and the other Andrew Feldman, Mary Testa, Andre DeShields and Priscilla Lopez,
who is brilliant, and there's a lot of fun in this.
Yeah. So yeah, that's no, I'm excited to see what because I think that's this it's interesting. It's like this is just the beginning of it. This is like it's almost like with the videos they put out on TikTok, almost like the out of town tryouts that you would have for a show normally, where you're kind of workshopping it, and then this is like their premiere. It's really cool. So yeah, I can't wait to see where this musical goes. And speaking of Wayne Brady, there's another event you were talking about that is coming up that people will be able to watch online as well.
Right, on Playbill online. No, that's Playbill.
Playbill.com
online. Tina Fey, Wayne Brady, Jennifer Hudson, Audra McDonald, they're all part of this event. It's a gala for the Educational Theater Foundation's upcoming Theater Alive virtual gala. And that's going to be streaming on January 28th at 7:30 Central Time or 8:30 Eastern Time. But it's to increase access to theater education in schools nationwide. And it's an all-star roster of talent. Of course, Wayne Brady, I think, is brilliant. That's one of the things we try to do. And they're in repeats now, but we love to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? And we marvel each week at how brilliant he is. He's just one of the most clever people I've ever seen. And Audra McDonald is a goddess, of course, and Jennifer Hudson is wonderful as well. And Tina Fey, I think, is brilliant. So what a fun thing just to see them as a part of that. I don't know if they're going to be performing, but they're going to be raising money and supporting, theater education in schools. So that's a good cause and good talent.
Yes, and I'll be definitely looking forward to that. I think that'll be great, a good thing, and yes, a lot of talented people, a lot of great people, going to be a good time. That is the 28th. You can watch it at playbill.com. Make sure that you follow up with, if you are on Facebook, get in contact with Mackenzie Ashbaugh about the production of Shakespeare's Midsummer Night's Dream, because there is no memorizing. You can just read the words on the page. I mean, acting, of course, but you can, it's because I told a story when I was interviewing her when I auditioned for Tartuffe, which isn't Shakespeare, but I did a Shakespeare monologue, and I did not do a good job memorizing it. And I was like, well, so, you don't have to have that worry. I mean, it's great. So make sure
you need to read through it a couple of times first, because it's
tough language, but yeah, but so
the great thing about these Zoom shows is you can have the script up on your computer screen, and you're looking mainly at the camera, on the computer, but you can also be reading a little bit. Now everyone knows that, and probably when we're talking, I look down to check out some articles and to double check some information I'm spewing.
I got stuff right here.
It's cool that you can have the script right here in front of you while you're doing this.
Yeah, so that'll be cool, and so you guys want to make sure you get in contact with her about that. And so, Gus, thank you so much, What's in It, for joining me. We'll do this again soon, and we will.
We'll see you soon, and stay safe, everybody.
Yes, stay safe. We'll see you soon. It is Let's Talk Arts and Entertainment on WMAY.